Hi, my name is Paul, and I wanted to provide some information for you as I've tried over the last couple of months to define what the cost would be, what the new tax for the new tax plan versus what the current tax plan is, and I could not find any real data points that would provide a good overview on what it would actually cost between current plan and the new plan. So what I did was put together a couple of spreadsheets, and for a single, a couple with children, and a head of household sheet just to show what those costs would be in regards to the current plan. So I use the information out of the current 1040 brochure, showing what the exemptions are, standard deductions for single and married couple, and head of household. And then put them up against what the proposed plan is right now, where the standard deduction would be $12,000 for a single, $24,000 for a couple, and $12,000 for a head of household. The tax rate that I used was out of from the tax table on the current plan, and the tax rate that I was using was from the proposed tax plan, which is 12% for up to $37,500 for a single or head of household, and $75,000 for a married couple. And then over those numbers, it would jump to 25%. So here's what a single taxpayer, the comparison for a single taxpayer would look like, starting at $30,000 up to $90,000. And again, here's between the standard deduction and one exemption, your total deductions would be $10,400. And the tax you would pay relative to each one of these figures would be down below. The new proposed tax plan would start you off with a deduction of $12,000, which is very, very simple. And you'd simply subtract that from what your total income would be, and your taxable amount would be, at this point, would be $18,000. And the tax between the two under the current plan would be $2,480 versus $2,160. So you would net out at a $320 advantage using the current plan. And this will show everything out from $30,000 to $90,000 for a single taxpayer. For a couple, I went from $30,000 to $100,000, and the standard deduction there is $12,700. And two exemptions at $4,050 would equal $8,100. So your total deductions would be $20,800. And again, the tax relative to each number from $30,000 to $100,000 is in the tax line here. And utilizing the new tax plan, you have a standard deduction of $24,000, and your tax for those numbers from $30,000 to $100,000 would be here. So your savings for under the new plan look well at $198 at $30,000, all the way up to almost $2,100 at $100,000. Where things get a little dicey is when you start adding children into the equation. Whereas your standard deduction, again, as a married couple, is $12,800, but when you have 4 exemptions, your total deductions go up to $28,900. So this creates a significant advantage with the current plan over the proposed plan, because there are no deductions for exemptions. You have a standard deduction of $24,000, but as you're losing a lot of the deduction from multiple exemptions, you're actually going to be paying a higher tax utilizing the new proposed tax. And this seems to be a problem. And the problem, goes away at $80,000, where you get $14 more for the year. But I don't think that's the intention of the administration or the speaker, to try and create a more of an issue than providing some tax relief. It gets worse. It gets worse with head of household, because with a head of household you had a higher standard deduction, and you had the deductions for each exemption. So with a single parent with 2 children, you'd have a total deduction of $21,400. versus a $12,000 deduction under the proposed plan. So, you know, this is really a significant problem here, as a head of household really ends up paying a lot of money under the new plan. So I think that there's a potential for a solution here. And so what I did was put together a slightly different modified proposed plan where you would utilize a standard deduction for the married couple, but for as many children as you have in your tax return, you would multiply those by $4,000. This would achieve what the administration, I think, is trying to do in providing some tax relief for for families, which, you know, is the headline of what they're trying to do. This doesn't provide very much tax relief, but at least it's better than what the initial plan is doing in making families pay. For head of household, the proposal would be to split the difference between a single and a married couple, single being having a $12,000 deduction, a married couple being $24,000, provide the head of household, the single parent who needs more relief than anybody else, the delta between those two at $18,000, and then again allow them to take the dependents at $4,000 each. This would provide the tax relief that someone would be looking for, especially in a head of household position, because the last thing you actually want, a single parent to do is end up paying more, and that's a significant amount of money to end up losing. So those are my thoughts, and if the numbers change relative to the tax rate or the deduction amount, I'll do an update later on. Thanks, and have a great day.